We are less than 3 weeks away from Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1, and with the final trailer, we've seen the return of old friends and the appearance of new enemies. Will Miyagi-Fang prevail, or will Cobra Kai go global? This is everything we know about Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1. Let's first break down the trailer scene by scene. We first see the ending of the Season 5 episode Head of the Snake, with Daniel narrating, "We've been through a lot to get to this point." The next scene then cuts to Miyagi-Fang standing together with some recruits from Cobra Kai, including Mitch, as they look ahead and we hear Daniel saying, "But now we're finally on the same page." The next shot shows two workers dumping the last of Terry Silver's Cobra Kai dojo lettering into a dumpster, which looks like the dumpster at the complex where Johnny and Miguel live. Johnny then says, "We may have settled things in the valley," as we see Hawk with his blue mohawk and Dimitri walking into West Valley, greeting Big Red and Edwin, two former Cobra Kai students who have now joined Miyagi-Fang. The next shot shows Miguel, Sam, Tori, and Robbie walking through the halls as Lawrence finishes saying, "But now we have to be ready for whatever the world throws at us," as it then cuts to Chosen reading a newspaper article talking about the scandal and falling out between John Kreese and Terry Silver at the Cobra Kai dojo, with notably a mugshot from Terry on the night of the events of Miyagi-Fang's raid on Cobra Kai. The dojo with its new students, notably Tori, Kenny, Big Red, Edwin, and others, are all now wearing white belts bowing to Chosen, Johnny, and Daniel as we hear an eagle screech in the background. We then cut to some shots of Dimitri breaking boards as Robbie and Hawk, with an American flag mohawk, hold them, with Tori holding the heavy bag in the background for Sam, and also what seems to be Mike Barnes looking on as he's now joined the team of senseis. Johnny narrates, "The Sakai Takai tournament is coming, so now is not the time to wuss out," over the scenes of Devin smiling at what she sees at the dojo next to Johnny, and we then see Miguel and Robbie getting ready to spar, with Amanda also being present for this, Johnny and Daniel shaking hands, and another sparring match shown, this time between Tori and Sam, as Devin and Johnny observe, as the geese have the new logo of an eagle flying over the Miyagi-Do bonsai tree. Johnny says, "You're gonna fight the best in the world," as we see some shots of the valley, followed by him buying an axe from Lyle at the pawn shop, with Daniel asking, "Do I want to know what that is for?" Lawrence responds by saying, "Training, Rocky IV style, gonna chop down a tree and carry it through the snow." Both Carmen and Amanda are seen at the LaRusso household observing something, as Carmen holds pink and blue cups, most likely for the baby shower, and then they look at each other, followed by Daniel saying, "What could possibly go wrong?" We then see him observe Chosen breaking the log in an extended shot of what we saw in the initial teaser, and then it cuts to Johnny drinking a chorus while narrating, "No matter what life throws at you," as Miguel, Sam, Robbie, and Tori listen, or observe, as he uses the pitching machine with bottles this time, and what seems to be an homage to Rumble in the Bronx, as Daniel shows some concern as the students attempt to dodge the bottles. Lawrence says, "You gotta stand on your feet," as Sam attempts to dodge and then falls into the water, followed by a next shot showing her practicing kata. Daniel is heard saying, "Our strength is that we teach both styles equally," as he gives Sam a nod of approval, as it then cuts to Miguel also practicing the kata inside of the Miyagi-Do dojo. In a continuation of the axe scene at the pawn shop, Daniel says, "Don't jeopardize that balance, man," as it cuts to what seems to be Coyote Creek, with Dimitri facing off against someone as Hawk and Kenny look at him. Inside the Miyagi-Do dojo, or what seems to be the location at least, Johnny asks, "Since when do I run things by you?" as Tori kicks a dummy with a Canada shirt on it and ends up knocking down the fence as Daniel, Sam, Robbie, and Miguel look on. At Coyote Creek, Daniel says, "Since we have no idea what we're up against," as Johnny shows some concern. We then cut to an aerial shot of what seems to be South Korea as Kreese is heard saying, "Only through pain does a champion reveal himself," which then shows Kreese and Kim getting ready to instruct the students, who are wearing similar gis to what Kreese and Silver wore in 1980. The students are seen carrying 2 bags of water, as Kim Da-eun used to when she climbed Chiri-san. Da-eun is seen looking on as one of the students breaks a board with a spin kick, and then the students respond by saying, "Yes, sensei." John is then seen smiling at the student who broke the board with a spin kick. Sam is heard saying, "It's one thing to be the best in town, it's another to be best in the world," as we see a shot of West Valley and her having this conversation with Miguel at lunch. Miguel responds by saying, "It just means I'm going to have to beat Robbie again," as we see the two get into stance and bow to each other. Miguel then seems to execute a kick on Robbie that's similar to the 2-legged Miyagi-Do kick, though with one leg, as Daniel referees the match. Johnny and Devin are seen leaving a house as the two are seen holding trash bags, with Sam stating, "I thought you were Miyagi-Do now," as she and Tori are seen standing in the same neighborhood. Tori responds by saying, "You think things are better now because I'm training in your dad's backyard," as it then cuts to the two sparring, and she catches Tori off guard with a sweep. Daniel narrates, "I think we have our strongest team," as it then shows Devin standing next to Hawk as their team, which includes Dimitri, Chris, Robbie, and Miguel, facing off against Sam, Tori, Anthony, Mitch, Nate, and Kenny, as all students seem to be wearing red ribbons on their gis. Johnny looks at Daniel and is heard saying, "I think they can handle anything." We then see a frat boy swinging at Kyler, who says, "Don't you know I know karate?" as he blocks the punch the same way Miguel did to him in their cafeteria fight, and we also see Brooks watching this in the background. Daniel was seen looking at something at Coyote Creek as Miguel, Robbie, Sam, Anthony, and others are clapping. The frat fight continues as Hawk launches a knee, which then cuts to Dimitri making a pop sound at Hawk, followed by a close-up of a fist as Johnny and Daniel seem to get into another disagreement in the Miyagi-Do dojo. From the initial teaser, we see the pitching machine, which Miguel punches the ball in a callback to Season 1, a brief shot of Tori and Sam having a pillow fight at a party, and Kim's student doing a kick similar to what Michael J. White did in Blood and Bone as it cuts to the Cobra Kai logo. Daniel pulls on a handle on the floor in possibly Miyagi's room as he asks, "What's that?" Chosen and Amanda observe as the former narrates, "Miyagi-san buried secrets for a reason," as there's shown to be a suitcase inside of the floor. Chosen tells Daniel, "If we open, anything is possible," as Daniel then looks down and opens it, with the shot seemingly making a nod to Pulp Fiction. We see the brief look of surprise on both Amanda and Daniel's faces as the trailer ends. Let's talk about what's confirmed so far, including this trailer, the initial teaser, and other videos from the past. Miyagi-Fang has grown not only in students, but senseis, and Mitch was even let back in the dojo, sporting a unique shirt of half Miyagi-Do and a half Eagle Fang. Although it was very brief, though possibly for good reason as there may be a bigger arc in his storyline, Mike Barnes is confirmed not only to appear this season, but to also help teach. This makes a lot of sense as we all know Barnes has experience in national tournaments and he could provide some valuable knowledge to the students. Chosen is also sticking around to help teach the students, and Robbie is now back at West Valley, most likely thanks to the LaRussos. It also seems that Devin is finally back under Johnny's wing as she seems to stick close to his side on more than one occasion. With Sam and Tori still having issues, this spar may be what finally puts their rivalry to rest officially. Miguel also is going to finally be able to retrain in Miyagi-Do, as he's seen doing the last part of the kata Daniel has done both in Karate Kid Part 3 and Cobra Kai Season 1. Kreese, how he got to South Korea I'm sure we'll find out, is now co-sensei with Kim Da-eun's dojang back home and may have possibly found another top pupil that he'll closely keep an eye on. It looks like Robbie and Miguel will have one more fight, though this time more of a spar under the eye of Daniel. Here are some speculations I have for the upcoming season, including what we saw in the trailer. Although it's minimal and likely for good reason, I suspect that we haven't seen the last of Terry Silver, and there will be more elaboration on what happens to him, which causes the influx of students that Miyagi-Fang receives. The mugshot of Silver seems to be more of a recent one production-wise, as his hair is different from the end of Season 5. My guess is that Johnny and Carmen are having a girl, and that's why we see pink decorations in the background when Sam and Tori are hitting each other with pillows, as it seems the baby shower is going to take place in the LaRusso household. Though Johnny and Daniel seem to be getting along, there's going to be a brief conflict that hopefully Chosen will help settle so that they can get everyone working on the same page. This would explain why Johnny is wearing his Eagle Fang gi sparring with Chosen, and after the fight leads to a change in all of them wearing white gis as well as the students, and agreeing on a new dojo name and symbol. If Kyler is to join Miyagi-Fang, which was implied in the last teaser, I think that he's going to face Dimitri in a proper one-on-one at Coyote Creek, which would explain why Kenny and Hawk both look at him as he looks angrily to someone off screen, as the two have had their history with Kyler. This would also explain why there's a lot more of him in the trailer as he took a backseat in Season 5, and perhaps we'll see a bigger arc for Dimitri. With that rivalry squash, this would lead to Kyler assisting Dimitri, Hawk, and Miguel at the frat party, even going so far as to take a page out of Miguel's book. As for Hawk changing his hair, I think it's pretty obvious. Given the global stage, this is Eli being patriotic. The beginning of the end is near for Cobra Kai, but it's been an awesome ride so far. I'm excited to see how it all goes down, and I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to rewatch through the series in case you've missed my watch parties. Now's also a good time to catch up on some of the character analysis I've done, as I'll have 14 more leading up to the release of Season 6, Part 1.